Yeah, we're good.
Perfect.
Perfect, man.
You've mastered your thing.
Yeah, I know, man. I run a tight ship.
Bro, the challenge with like being a comic
Yes.
in like this day and age is you have to be everything.
You have to.
For those of you who wonder how easy comedy is, let me tell you how hard it is. When you watch a movie and at the end you see the credits, a comedian is all those things. So like you're the producer of the show, you're the executive producer, you don't know who puts money into the show.
Yeah.
You're the photographer, the videographer, the graphics guy, the editor, you're
everything.
the writer, makeup, everything.
And then at the end of that, make sure you write some jokes.
And
make sure you're funny.
After doing all of that.
Yeah.
So when you come for a comedy show and you say, I didn't really enjoy it, bro. The amount of things you didn't enjoy. So many.
And you know, some of us have to learn that a bit late.
Yeah.
You think all you need is the funny.
Yeah.
It's really not all that you need. You need way more.
Yeah. Because that's how it's sold to you on social media, on TV.
Yes.
Because all you see is jokes and you're like, all I need to do is get on stage and tell people jokes and then my life changes. But then, like you've said, later on as time goes, when you realize, wait, I have to market myself. So you have to learn marketing skills. You have to learn some graphics design. You have to learn audio production, all these things. So you end up being everything except a comedian.
How long have you done it now?
From 2017. So that's what? That's close. That's 9 years.
Really?
So I'm planning next year to do a show that says, 10 years of Dr. Hillary Okello.
Oh, 10 years.
From 2017 to 2026, that's about 9 years.
Yeah.
So we are hoping next year we do a big show like that.
Nice. I think that will happen.
When did you start?
I started you remember when Chris Rock had the tiff with Will Smith?
When they slapped him on stage.
Yes.
Okay. So that's like what? That week,
That weekend.
You are inspired by...
I wasn't inspired. I was like, a friend was I've always wanted to do it, and I knew I could do stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
I just didn't have the knowledge of a few clubs that were hosting
stand-up. Where to go, where to start.
Yes. But then that weekend, my friend was like, I know this place where they do comedy. It will be good for you.
Perfect.
Yeah, he was.
So you started from Laugh Bar? Where?
No, I started a place called Punchline. You know Punchline?
I know Punchline, yeah.
That's right.
Shout out Eric
Lou Savali.
Have
you performed there?
Never, not yet. But it's a place I would like to jump on.
Yeah, I think you could stop by and see or have a word with him.
Yeah.
So that weekend, the idea was just to go and watch.
Okay.
But then I was like, I could go up.
Was it like an open mic?
It was.
Okay, yeah.
It was my first day, and it was like, I'll go. I was like, I don't have to watch. Let me just go. But I bombed so bad. It was ill-advised.
Okay.
I should have just watched.
No, but I think that's the best way to get into stand-up is to bomb on stage the very first time.
Yeah.
Because then what's the worst that could happen? Because that's the worst that happens in stand-up is you bomb on stage.
Yeah.
So if your very first show you have a bad show, it means there's no any other show that will get worse than that.
Yeah.
But what I mean?
Yeah. Some people maybe could kill their confidence.
No, but that also helps us to filter people who are unserious and those who are truly motivated to be a comedian.
You filter through quickly and know who you need.
Yeah, because we have had guys, and they really bother me a lot. Like young people join the industry and they come to you, they're like, I would like to do comedy and be like you, stuff like that. You're like, yeah. And I'm all for helping people who want to join comedy because the more people, the bigger the industry.
Yes.
But what bothers me is someone who joins, you have a conversation, you start giving them tips, you start holding their hand and taking them here and there, and then 2 months later, they're out of the game. So for me, that's wasted energy.
It is, for sure.
You see what I mean? That's time I could have put into either someone else or in myself to push myself somewhere else. But if I wasted 2 months getting you to get your jokes right, do this, the time I wasted on you, I'll never recover it.
That's very true.
Yeah. So if we put people on, that's what I mean when most people come to me, they're like, I'd like to do comedy. Like, yeah, come, step on stage. I want you to step on stage so that if you bomb and you stay, then you're a focused person.
Yeah.
You're the kind of person I want.
Yeah. Ty told me the exact same thing.
Yes.
He was like, if someone bombs and comes back, that's a real comic.
That's a real comic, yeah.
That's how you really know.
That's how I really know. So if somebody gets on stage for the first time, has a good time, second time has a good time, like they have not yet tested comedy. So until they get onto a stage that makes them hate themselves, you feel like the world, that feeling of bombing, you feel like the world should swallow you up.
Yeah, you feel like...
And fellow comics don't even tell you the truth, man. Like you come off stage, You come, you know for sure it wasn't a good show. And you're like, my guy, how was the show? I wasn't watching, man. I was smoking. I wasn't around. Really, everyone you ask is like, yeah, man, you got some good laughs. You got some good. But you know you didn't get a single laugh. You know,
things were rough.
Things were rough, but I won't tell you the truth.
Yeah.
So I think that baptism of fire.
Yeah, baptism by fire
was good for you. So
it was actually.
So you're here.
I realized bombing at my very first time going on stage. I had to pick up the pace really fast. Really right.
It humbles you.
It's very humbling.
Comedy is one of the most humbling art forms. You know.
Yeah.
Because first of all, the feedback is instant.
Exactly.
You know.
Yeah.
Comedy doesn't care whether you've been doing it for 20 years or 1 month. A good joke is a good joke. A bad joke is a bad joke.
True.
You know.
True.
Even the best comedians. I have a friend who told me he went to America, to the States.
Yeah.
He's a comedian. Went to America, to the States to do some shows, and then he happened to have a chance to watch some of the big comics. You know, like the big names in the industry.
Yeah.
And so he bought tickets to go to these shows. And he says there's a show he attended, and the comic bombed on stage, and he couldn't believe this guy also bombs on stage. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
And he said that what that taught him is he no longer fears to bomb. Because every time he bombs, he's like, bro, you see me bombing here? Even this guy is bombing in somewhere in America.
My guy Chris is just bombing somewhere in New York.
Big names. You see what I mean? So it taught him that, no, we are the same everywhere. So
tell me about your background, like in UG. What part of UG, like growing up, how is that experience?
UG, originally from northern Uganda.
Northern UG.
Yeah. So the Luo community is mostly from northern Uganda.
You know we have Luos here, a huge contingent.
So here they are mostly from where? Which part of Kenya?
Nyanza.
Nyanza is which part?
Nyanza is
next to Lake Victoria? Or?
Yes.
Yeah, because someone told me around there. Okay.
Yes.
So the Luo mostly from northern Uganda, but I grew up mostly in Kampala. And Kampala is like the hub of everything. If you want to make it in Uganda, Kampala is where you have to go to.
You have to be there.
So even in comedy, when I set out to start comedy, the comedy clubs that were there were only in Kampala. But I'm glad today comedy has really grown. I don't know how it is in Kenya here, but it has now grown so far beyond the capital city. So like right now, I just came from Uganda. We did 5 shows outside Kampala. You know, we did 5 shows, one in Soroti, that is eastern Uganda. We did Gulu and Lira, that is northern Uganda. We did Koboko and Arua, that is West Nile. So it's the northeastern part of Uganda.
Yeah.
So to be able to do 5 shows, fully packed, out of, not in the capital city, I think that goes to show how far comedy has come.
Yeah.
Because back then it was crazy. You'd go up country and people don't even understand what you're doing. You go on stage, you hold the mic, and they think you're the MC who is supposed to call a musician on stage.
They think you're just the medium before the real entertainment.
So they'll come for the show, they're like, let's go watch comedy. And they don't even understand what comedy is.
Yeah.
So when you come on stage and you're performing, 30 minutes into your performance, you'll hear someone in the audience shouting, so what time do you start? You're like, bro, I've done 30 minutes.
Bro, I've given you entertainment for like 40 minutes.
What do you mean, what time do I start? So it's good to know that right now they understand comedy and they appreciate it to a point where you're performing for an audience outside the city, but it's a listening audience. So imagine an audience. Let me show you some photos. I think I have some photos here.
So growing up Northern Uganda. At what point do you move to Kampala? Do you move by yourself or do you bring family with you?
So my time in northern Uganda was actually split because I stayed a lot in Kampala and then Lira.
Okay.
Because I used to study in Kampala because my parents felt like the best education you'll get is in the capital city. But for holidays, I would go back to Lira. So I would spend probably 3 months in Kampala, then go spend 3 weeks or a month in Lira. Then when school resumes, you're again back in Kampala. So sort of like have half of your life here, half of your life there. Because my mother is in Lira. She's a primary teacher.
I heard that in your bit yesterday.
So we always had to go back and spend some time.
Let
me see if I have photos. I'm looking for photos to show you. Okay.
So you had to do a back and forth. Kampala and.
So this was Soroti.
Wow.
This was early in the show before the show had even filled up. So you see now this is later in the show. This was about 400 people came for this show. This is Soroti, Eastern Uganda.
Yeah. Who are some of the people who you guys were performing in when you started in 2017? Who are the guys you found in there?
Salvador, Napoleon, and Kansime.
Those two are loved here in Kenya. Salvador and Kansime, they are beloved.
So much.
Yeah.
So those are like the people who you had in your list of admiration. Like these are the people that you revere, you respect, you appreciate. And they are the people who made you feel like if I started on this journey, there's a light at the end of the tunnel.
What did you study in school?
Which, like professionally?
Yeah.
Because I studied clinical medicine.
You studied?
Clinical medicine.
Whoa, you studied clinical medicine.
And I practiced, when I graduated, I practiced for 4 years. 2018 to 2022.
Yeah.
But also at the time, I was doing comedy on the side.
Okay.
So I was doing medicine. I would be working in a clinic or a medical center. And then later in the night, I'm finding out where shows are. So I'd be doing open mics or comedy shows. Also, I ended up on radio for some reason. I have a friend who worked on radio. So he asked me, you know, our manager was looking for a comedian to do the morning show. I don't know if I was like, yeah, why not? Like for me, I feel like experiences, just go and learn and try anything. Try anything.
Yeah.
And you never know what audience you build.
Yeah.
So I was on that radio for about, it's called Hot 100. It was called Hot 100 in Kampala for about 2.5 years, I think. Yeah. And then they sold the radio. I don't know.
They sold the radio and you guys were working
there. The business wasn't doing well. But it was like the weirdest feeling. Do you know what it means? To be an employee. And you see the new buyer scouting there. Imagine being an employee and you see the new buyer scouting the area. Okay, I like this. How many speakers? Okay, this is wonderful.
No one is briefing
no one is briefing
what is happening.
But you know the business is going anytime.
You know the business is going down.
Yeah, so I remember we had a meeting, a company meeting, and the boss, the manager, called all the employees together and they briefed us about, so it was a rumor until when we had the meeting.
Wow.
So the rumor was going around like, guys, do you know they're selling the radio? And nobody really knew what was happening. Until when we had a meeting and they said, you know what? We are stopping end of this month. And that was like mid-month. Stopping end of this month. So you guys will have to figure out your lives after here.
For real?
Yeah. But then they gave everyone a stipend. An appreciation stipend.
Give you something just
so they said, we'll pay you for the end of the month. Then we'll also give you a stipend at the end. Can I give this to him?
Okay, sure.
Help me pick this. That's Doug.
So what made you first go on stage? Like, what do you think drew you to stand-up comedy and not anything else? And what made you feel like, I can do this?
Yeah. I think the funniest thing about this story is, like I told you, we had to move from Lira to... okay, let me open this. Oh, perfect. Okay, here. You talk to him. So, like I told you, we were living in Kampala but going to Lira for holidays.
Yeah.
The thing that actually inspired me to join comedy is when we travel by bus from Lira to Kampala. It's like 6 hours. Yeah. But on these buses, they would have like those screens, and those screens would play stuff. So they'd put like entertainment for passengers. So like movies, music, whatever.
Yes.
But in this particular time, we were traveling back to Kampala with my mother in the bus, and they were playing stand-up. It was the first time I saw stand-up.
How old are you this time?
TV. Bro, I was, I think, probably maybe 12 or 13.
Yeah.
You know. And they played 12. I was a teenager, maybe 12 to 15, within that range. And they were playing, I don't know if you watched Night of 1,000 Laughs.
It sounds
it's on
familiar.
YouTube. It's on YouTube.
Yeah.
So it was a popular show. It actually even happened here in Nairobi. An edition happened here in Nairobi. It's actually the one I watched, where it had Pablo. There's a comedian from Uganda called Pablo. It had Clint the Drunk.
I know him.
He was also here in Nairobi for that show. I think there was also a bit of basket mouth that they played, the two things involved joke. The two things involved. So it was entire Gordon's was also on that thing. So it was a show, a comedy show. For those of you who don't know, you check it out on YouTube. It's called Night of 1,000 Laughs. Yeah. All video comedy content. But we watched that thing for 6 hours. From the start of the journey until we reached Kampala. They literally even had to replay it because I think it's like 1 hour and a half.
Yeah.
You know. But I watched that whole show. And when I finished the bus ride, I told my mother, I was like, this is something, I would like to do comedy. And that stuck in me. Like that's something that when now I went into high school and all of that, I was always checking on the computer, stand-up comedy, watching comedy from all over the world. I have friends who I studied with in school who was an Indian dude. He was like, yo, Hillary, you want to do comedy? I said, yeah, I want to do comedy. So he would send me, he would tell me, go and search about this guy. That's the first time I even watched Russell Peters. Because this guy was an Indian. So he said, there's an Indian comedian called Russell Peters. You love him. So I started watching a lot of comedy like that. That's when I said, this is something interesting. And in Uganda at the time now, we had comedy on TV. So we had like a couple of shows on TV, regular shows, like these weekly shows, like what you would call Churchill show in Kenya. So back there, we also had comedy like that. And you would think, this is something I find interesting. Someone to step on stage, hold a mic, and then just narrate stories, and people laugh along. That is brilliant.
Who do you think inspired you the most of all the comedians you watched? Who made you feel like, hey, this is, like, I'm really moved by this guy. I want to be?
I think it was Salvador. In Uganda, it would be Salvador.
Yeah.
Because he embodied everything you wanted to be as a Ugandan comedian.
Yeah.
You wanted to be funny, you wanted to be exciting on stage. Also, you wanted to be learned, like someone who people say, oh, he went to school and now he's doing comedy. Because Salvador did engineering and then he went into comedy. So even for me, it was sort of like the stamp of approval of like, okay, do your education and then you can still do comedy.
Were there people like you've done clinical medicine? Are there people who are looking at you like, hey, you can do a decent job? Why do you have to do this funny stuff?
There are people like that. There are people like that. But also I think the beauty is now the times that we live in are much more progressive.
Yes.
Because like back then it was hard to even explain what comedy is. You know, like a stand-up comedian was hard to. Because our parents had like a checklist of jobs and professions that they just go ticking one by one. They're like, so do you want to be a teacher? No, okay. Does an engineer work? We're like, no, all right. You know, so if you're not on that checklist of like 10 professions or 10,
and you're sure comedy is not on that list.
Not, bro, not even on the next page. Yeah. Like it's not even on that. It's not even close.
So even conversations maybe with your mother is
can't even start. You even don't know how to approach them. But now that's what I'm saying is like the shows that were happening on TV would make it easier to explain.
Okay.
So when you say, Mom, I want to do what that guy is doing, you know. So then it's sort of, they can look at it and like, okay, if you want to do that, try it out. It's fine. Because they see that the person you're talking about has a sense of value, a sense of respect and value. So they're like, okay, he's making money. Because we can see people in the audience. So he's making money. Also, you'll see him on TVs, on interviews, and you're like, you know what? There's probably something here.
Yeah.
So it's easier to explain today. But back then it was hard to meet. You know those uncles that always want to check on your progress in life. Like, my nephew, how is life? What are you doing now? So when you tell them, I finished my medical school, I'm working here, they're like, okay, well done.
Yeah.
But it's hard back then to tell them, so we are doing some open mic shows. It's like, okay, how many people are there? Like 3 people. You're like, what?
What?
Are they paying? No, it's free. What are you doing with your life?
And how old are you now?
How old are you now? You're 22? Okay, I just want that for clarity.
So it's very tricky.
It's very tricky. But now it's easier.
Yeah, for sure.
Because even with social media, people go on social media and they are awash with comedy.
Yeah.
So it's easier to explain that.
At what point do you start to realize I'm not just like an open mic comedian, I am funny? Like I'm standing and I'm doing, like at what point are you realizing, wait a minute, this thing is like heating up for me kidogo?
Yeah.
At what point do you?
I think one important thing in like stand-up is the first thing that you want to get is approval from your peers. I think that's like the first thing. Like when you join the industry, everyone doesn't consider you a comedian. They just consider like an affiliate. Like you're just around, you're within the vicinity of comedy, but you're not necessarily a comedian.
Yeah.
Until when they start seeing you kill it on stage regularly.
Yeah.
Until when you start giving someone feedback that actually works. You know, like how you go off stage and someone says, yo, that joke of yours is good, but if you did this and this, I'm sure it would get better.
Yes.
And then they do that, they're like, okay, Hillary gave me something and actually worked. It actually worked. And then they watch you perform, even if you're the first act on stage, you know, you're the person they're just giving 5 minutes to warm up the audience. But in those 5 minutes, you leave people bowing and standing and saying, yo, that guy should be given more minutes. So the more you do that, the more they realize, okay, this guy is actually, then they start now working with you. So when people start calling you, people you respect, start getting in touch with you about a joke they're working on. They're like, you know, there's this show I'm trying to do. I want to try this joke. What angle do you think would work? What? When people start asking for your advice, then you realize, okay, there's an element of respect that now is coming in, you know. So I think that's it. When you start doing that, then you feel now you're on the next level. You're not just an open mic comedian. You're now getting somewhere. And then when now even audiences, because there are shows that are regular in Kampala that I've been on, where the person who runs the show calls you and says, bro, I need you on my lineup. People are asking for you.
Wow.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
But the previous shows, you were just warming up. You're just an opening act. But now there's people who are, before they buy a ticket, they're like, I want to buy a ticket, but is Okello on the lineup? You see what I mean? So then the host or the organizer of the show has to come back to you and say, bro, I need you on this lineup. People want you to come on, even if you do 10 minutes. That's when you start feeling like, okay, I think I'm pushing myself. I'm getting to another level.
That's very true. Getting respect from your peers definitely
is the most
helps.
important.
When I started out, I didn't socially, I didn't do really well until I started killing. Then people are like, oh,
nobody, bro. Nobody even asked for your number. Like you could do comedy for 5 years. For 5 years. And everyone just dubs you up the
nice show.
Bro, see you again.
See,
you're around.
Yeah, I'm around. And then that's that.
It. No one is asking for your WhatsApp number, nothing. It is you who's moving around. Could you give me your... But you know you're killing it now. When you walk off stage and everyone who is talking to you is like, yo, by the let me get your contact. You know, let's keep in touch. You know, even, and it's not just even where you are, but even outside the country. You'd go to another country, you do something, and everyone's like, I need this guy's contact, because they feel like there's something you have that they can gain from, you know. So yeah.
What about you traveling? You've traveled a lot, especially across like Africa. So what are some of, how's those experiences been? The audiences, has it been eye-opening? Have you killed certain places? Have you learned? What has it been like?
Very, very, what is the word? Not just exciting, but also very, like there's a lot of information that you really, like you don't really understand something until you're there. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. So there are places we have done shows, like we did the first time I was in South Africa last year. We had no plan of actually doing a show in South Africa. It was just supposed to be like a transit thing, like let's just go through and then, but then my friend said, you know what, there's this small show we're doing, why don't you just be part of it and let's see what happens. And it was fantastic. You know, imagine your first time in a city and you sell over 130 tickets, and this is a show you've marketed for 5 days. You see what I'm saying? And you're like, okay, there's some potential here. But what I've learned is to find a way to make the jokes as relatable as possible. So you wrote the joke in Uganda, but you're performing it in South Africa. And you have to find a way to make them laugh at the same joke. So changing the joke to make it work. There are a lot of things that you eliminate. So it has taught me a lot in terms of writing international material. So there are jokes you will write intended not for your home audience. So it's intended for everyone. So you're writing a joke, you think, okay, what am I going to write? So now like there's a joke I'm working on my new show in Kampala. It's about like traveling with passports and stuff like that. So it's a joke I know doesn't limit me to Uganda. So you're writing it for everyone. So the joke I wrote about traveling business class is a joke not limited to Uganda, because everyone travels everywhere. So you get what I'm saying? So it teaches you how to, because the jokes I took to other countries and I could tell on stage it's struggling, but it's literally struggling because I did not fine-tune it to meet the audience. So after the show, you're like, okay, there's this joke that struggled a bit. How do I make it better? And now next time, how do I avoid writing a joke that will struggle on an international stage. Yeah.
What was the best place you performed and you're like, wow, I love this, away from Uganda?
Away from Uganda, Juba is one of my favorites. South Sudan, Juba, amazing audience, listening crowd. South Africa, I had fun, but it was my first time, so I can't really. We're going back again this year. So yeah, Johannesburg 29th May, Cape Town 30th May.
Nice.
But that's also one I'm really looking forward to, because Cape Town is a very good comedy audience. I've never been there, but from what I've seen and what I've been told, amazing. Botswana, we had a lot of fun in Gaborone. Very nice audience. But like comedy, the beauty about comedy is it's the universal nature of comedy is amazing.
Yeah, the universality of it all.
Yeah, to know that you can go as far as wherever, go as far as Zambia and find an audience that's amazing. Go as far as, even if you go to Rwanda, Kigali. We're even planning to do Eswatini, Swaziland.
Wow.
So the Kingdom of Eswatini, we're also coming this year to just see what it is, man. Like sometimes you just go and find out. Go and find out.
So the traveling has made you even write differently. Even now you're writing to accommodate a
wider, yes.
But you also, the way you write, by the way, you're such a joy to watch.
Thank you, my guy.
Yeah, like for a long time I haven't watched a comedian who's made me feel like, wow. Because your jokes, it's the simplicity. That's just the word, less is more.
Less is more, yes.
Yeah, like, because there's very certain things anyone anywhere in the world can relate
to, yes.
You know, opposite sex relationships,
yes.
money, things like our childhood, our relationship with our parents. So I think you play around with that really, really well, and it connects with a lot of people.
And I think for me, some of the best jokes, as a comedian, I don't even, as much as they say comedy is meant to make people laugh, but I think for me, after laugh, I want relatability.
Okay.
So those two things. I think if someone laughs, and then while they're laughing, if they can say, yo, man, that's so true. Yo, I've been there. I think that's the best joke.
Yeah.
So you can write all kinds of jokes, very clever jokes, very political jokes, very, those deep thinking, like really, they're like, yo, man, I don't know how you thought about that. I don't find those even more appealing. What I find more appealing is someone to say, yo, that is so true. I've been there.
Yeah.
When somebody says, Okello, I don't know why you're talking about me. You see them in the comment section saying, this guy he's talking about my life.
You joke about...
Those are my best jokes.
Yeah, you see you joke about how every guy can relate to being broke and how they were stranded outside a club.
Yes.
It's the most
yes.
relatable thing.
Yeah, when you're there struggling, telling the bouncer, yo, yesterday we didn't pay. Why are we paying today? Yeah. But someone who's in the audience is like, yo, that is so true. Because he knows a friend of his who did that somewhere. Yeah.
Exactly. So what's then your writing process? Like, do you wait for something to hit you and you're like, let me write about this? Or how do you like get inspired to write a joke?
For me, I think it comes down to, in order to always have material, you should always live a life. So I think it's accepting what happens in your life and finding the humor in it. Now, like yesterday when I was here, we did a joke about marriage. And because it actually happened to me, you see. So you're writing jokes about your experiences, and because you keep experiencing things every day, you can't run out of material. So it's like having a pool of material that keeps growing every day.
Yeah.
So, but if you're a very specific kind of writer, it becomes hard. So you'll spend months and months working on a joke. But for me, it's just what happens to me. So today we were driving, we got an Uber, traveling to go and see a friend of mine. And you can ask Fred, we're in the car, and this driver slapped the other car. You ask him. I think they were like, like the anger management in Kenya is not working. What kind of anger? Like, I think you know how he was trying, I think, to overtake, but they were in traffic jam on the bypass. Okay. And so he was almost ramming into his friend. So our driver lowered the window and just he almost slapped the driver through the window. And I was like, yo, the anger in Kenya is next level.
There's some anger and angst in Kenya. You're right.
Yes. So now an experience like that for me is golden material.
For sure.
So now I'm sitting down, I'm thinking, okay, what angle can I find this?
Yeah.
You see what I mean? Like, how do I twist this?
Do you sit and flesh it out with a pen?
So I'll write that down as an idea.
Okay.
As an idea, like anger management in traffic. and then sit down later on and then just verbalize my thoughts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can just sit down and verbalize your thoughts. Just be like, yo, man, Kenya, guys, you guys need to work on your anger management.
Yeah.
What is happening? You know, I've seen people angry, but you guys, your anger is on the next level. And then you push it. And then after verbalizing, you self-record, like audio-wise, then test it on stage or something. You know, it's amazing.
And then there's something that you do particularly that's very impressive.
Yeah.
You get the most out of your joke.
Yeah.
You make sure you get all the juice.
Squeeze the juice out of it.
Yes. Which is something like most us comedians in Kenya, we don't do really well.
Yeah.
Someone does a joke, builds it, gets a punchline.
That is it. Goes to the next one.
No, but you...
I feel like, because my goal, I think because every year I set out to do 3 shows.
Okay.
3 shows of at least, I perform for at least 50 minutes. So 50 to 1 hour, but sometimes I go over an hour. But my goal has always been, I write a joke, and that joke has to be 10 minutes. So all I need to do is write 5 jokes.
And you have?
And I have a show. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'll write a joke, and most people will be asking, so what do you mean by a joke? Because of course there are bits in there that people are laughing at, but for me, I'll consider it a joke. So if I write a joke about like weddings, I want that wedding idea to be 10 minutes. So now like this idea I've gotten for the traffic anger management. That if I verbalize it, it may come out to 2 minutes. So far where I am mentally and what I've written down, it may come out to 2 minutes.
Okay.
But I'm going to find a way to make it 10 minutes.
You're dedicated to find a way.
Like
and get all the juice out of it.
I'll stretch that thing. Like you'll find different angles. So you'll talk about traffic in Kenya, you'll talk about the anger management, talk about the bypass, talk about the guys selling on the road. Like you'll find all the nitty-gritties around that joke. Then you talk about your Uber experience, because it was an Uber thing, ordering Uber in Nairobi.
Yes.
So there's a lot of things that surround that particular joke that you have, you know. So there's a lot of potential. As long as I get it past 5 minutes, it will get to 10 easily.
It will get to 10
easily.
Do you observe like the different comedy scenes? Like if you come to Nairobi, you're like, this comedy scene looks like this. In SA, it looks like this. If I go to Zambia, it will look... Do you observe certain things? And what do you pick up and see like, this is how Uganda is different, this is how Kenya is different? What do you see?
Many things. I think what I like about like the Nairobi comedy audience right now is you've really built the English audience so strongly. I know also there's a Swahili audience, definitely. But you've really managed to build the English audience. So any act that comes from out of the country can't struggle to perform here if they're doing English material. Very easily you can perform that. In Uganda, it's still a bit of a struggle. We're nurturing the English audience, but it's still a bit of push and shove here and there. But once you get them, amazing.
What do they prefer?
No, a lot of them prefer the local language. So a lot of them prefer Luganda. So especially like in Kampala, upcountry it's English. Upcountry it's English. You're good to go. If you come to Uganda one time and we're doing the tour and you join us, you'll have a fun time in Gulu, Lira, wherever. You'll have a good time. You'll have a fantastic time.
They're speaking English.
They're speaking English. You'll get everything. They'll listen to you, and they know with English you have to listen and enjoy the material. But in Kampala, there's still that divide where there's still a lot of people who would prefer the vernacular Luganda as compared to English. But the English audience is growing, which is fantastic. When you go to Rwanda, Kigali, it's even more of a struggle than Uganda. They struggle a lot with the English audience. They're still really, really pushing, but it's mostly Kinyarwanda. So even when we go to perform there, there are times you're on stage and you can tell this guy is not getting what I'm saying.
Completely.
You know the joke is funny, but you know he's just not getting it.
He's not getting it.
He wants to get it, and you can see he wants to.
But he's trying.
He's right. He's invested. Sometimes he's laughing at the wrong points. Like you're still building the joke. Like, hey. You're like, bro, wait for the punchline.
Relax. We are headed somewhere with this joke. So for them, it's strictly Kinyarwanda over there.
So some of them struggle. But they're building. There's a new English show. I think it's called Thank God It's Friday. I think, I don't know if that's the name. with Babu. I don't know if you know Babu. Babu Rwandese comedian.
Heard of him.
Very funny guy. So they're building their English comedy scene, though the Chinyarwanda is still really, really strong. When you go to like Juba as well, there's a lot of, Arabic. They do a lot of Arabic. So also the English scene is, so because I'm an English performer, those are kind of things I need to know before I go anywhere. Lusaka, Zambia, very wonderful English comedy scene. Zimbabwe also, they have very good English comedy as well.
Yeah.
South Africa, fantastic. I think South Africa is the best English comedy scene in Africa. So yeah, if you're a comic out there and you're trying to do all these places, so be mindful of where you go. I think it's important to always ask the promoter or the organizer of the show what the audience is like, so that you know prior to your travel.
Tell me about your tour. Is this your first tour where you're traveling across this many cities? Why did you call it Jokes from Far Away? When did this idea come from? Tell me about the tour, Kias.
I wanted to do the tour last year, but then I needed to sort myself out a couple of things here and there. But then I said this year, no matter what, we need to kick it off.
Yeah.
And the first thing, of course, you do is find people in different places to help you make things happen. So you contact Stand Up Collective here in Nairobi. You're like, can you get me a date? How many days can you give me? What can we do to make it happen? So then you have Kenya locked in. I have a guy in Zambia who helps me a lot there, organizing shows.
Have a lot of dates in Zambia. I saw that calendar.
Amazing. So we did Zambia as well. We started with Zambia in March. Then I have a friend of mine who helps me do the shows in Southern Africa. So we'll book Botswana, South Africa, and all these other places. Then in Uganda, I will talk to venue owners and promoters around
in UG
to book dates up country. Sometimes I also collaborate with comedians who like come from those places. So you're like, yo bro, are you going back to your city? And I said, I'm going back to my hometown. So like, all right, let's do something with you there. So you get all those booked. Then you book Kampala, you book Rwanda. So it's mostly finding people in these places to book them, to get you like dates and venues to book. And then it's a big weight financially, because bro, you need to book flights, book accommodation, travel costs alone that are simultaneous. The miscellaneous rather, they'll just fall in there. Today you're paying for this, paying for that. You didn't expect this, you pay for that. Yeah, but I think the most important thing is to build a touring culture. Yeah, and I think it's where African comedy should head to. Let's not be comfortable where we are. I agree. Let's build home, but also let's take the stories of home far away. So that's where the idea of the show came. I felt like I have a lot of material I'm writing for home people, but I want to be able to take it far from home. So that's why it's called Jokes from Far Away. Nice. So I have people in Uganda who are not happy with the name. They're like, why is it Jokes from Far Away when you're at home? I said no, because
What do you mean Jokes from Far Away?
When you are here.
When you're here.
I'm like, bro, I'm taking it far away.
Far away.
And then I'll be coming home.
Okay,
so,
okay.
Yeah, that's the idea.
What does it look like in Uganda? Are you guys like mainstream now? Because I see like you guys perform for mass audiences. Because us here in Kenya, we're still small clubs. Yeah. The English scene is not yet mainstream. It's not. You know Churchill.
Yeah, I know Churchill. Yeah.
Have you performed there actually?
Yeah, I've done the festival once, 2022.
2022. How was it?
I would say it was a good show. Not the best. Yeah. For my liking. So like as a comic, you can rank your show. You're like, today I probably did a 5 out of 10, or I did a 7. So I would say it was like a 7 out of 10.
What time did you go up on stage?
Bro. I was waiting for you to ask.
See, already, I just know why you don't. What time did you go on stage?
Let me tell you, before I tell you the time.
Yeah.
it was 9 p.m. And because it was a festival, so we had comics. Q Dube from Zimbabwe. Okay. We had Celeste from Celeste, yeah, from South Africa. We had Deliso was around. We had what's this guy's name?
Was Salvador there?
Salvador was there, of course. We came with him. There was Lois Ogola was also there. Okay. On that specific edition. So what made me laugh is at 9 p.m. guys were dressed up. Guys were ready for the show. Okay. Guys came outside. They like got out of their rooms. They're waiting.
Now, where's the show? Do you remember?
This big place. What's it
KICC.
Called? KICC. Okay. That's where it was. Yeah. But I think they were in the gardens. We were not in the hall. Okay. They were in the gardens. So 9 p.m. guys are set, and then so they call They call Salvador. Salvador is in his room.
Yeah.
He's sleeping because he has been here many times, so he knows the drill. So all of us
already read.
So all of us are outside, waiting for pickup. Let's go to the venue. Sure, it's 9 p.m. The show should be starting.
Yeah.
So we're outside, and then one of the comics called Salvador, like, "Yo, my guy, where are you? We are getting ready. We're outside. I think they should come and pick us, and we go." Salvador said, "Guys, just go back and sleep." Said, "What do you mean go back?"
Salvador knew the drill already.
He said, "What do you mean go back and sleep?" He said, "No, guys, just go back in your rooms. The show is not yet started. I can assure you."
I can tell you right now.
I've been here many times.
Yeah.
Without you guys paying me, I can tell you, go back and rest.
Yeah.
Bro, I stepped on stage around 2 a.m.
2 in the morning.
2 a.m. 2. I don't know what happened before that, but I think there was like music, live band, artists,
promo,
opening acts. I think there were like 10 opening. I don't know how many opening acts were there, because that's the first time I met Arnold Xavier.
Yes,
a fantastic comedian.
Yes,
shout out to you, Arnold.
He's killing it. Yeah,
he's killing it. That's where I met Arnold Xavier. 2 a.m. is when I stepped on stage, and I wasn't even like I was like, I think the third guy on the lineup. There were other guys, so I think that show ended around 3:30.
Jeez. Are you annoyed at that point? Are you tired?
Bro, you're tired. You're not even in the mood anymore. You're like, you know what? Let's just go on stage. Let's just do what we can do.
Yeah. And how much time were you able to do?
They gave me 20 minutes. And I think I did maybe 18, close to 20. I think that maybe 18, close to 20. But I didn't go over my time.
Yeah.
Because it was one of the things where, like, let's do this show. Because one, I was very excited about the festival. I'd never done. It was my first time in Nairobi, so I really wanted to have a good time. Yeah. But it wasn't a show that you would leave saying, "Yo, we had a good show."
It's not a show you'd probably tell people like you are part of. Like,
no, it was a good show.
Yeah.
I had a good show on stage. I think I would give it a 7 out of 10 in terms of performance.
Yeah.
But I felt like if we had performed earlier than midnight,
so much better. Even probably just the mixing of like art forms. Someone is doing music, someone is doing
it affects, because music is a passive art form.
Exactly.
You can literally enjoy a musician on stage without watching him.
Yeah.
Like, you can just be on your phone every time he changes the song. You're on your phone, but you're vibing to him.
Exactly.
But comedy, people need to look at you. They need to be sober. They need to want 2 a.m. Do you know how drunk people are, man?
Oh, people are pissed drunk at that.
People are pissed drunk.
People are drunk.
They even now calling you the wrong name. Like, you do a nice joke, they're like, Lois, or you're funny. They're like, guys, I'm Okello.
Lois already performed like 2 people.
Even when you're done, they're like, my guy, Kudube, let's take a photo. No, but you can't chase him away.
Yeah.
Like, how is Zimbabwe? Like, it's wonderful.
I'm not from there.
I'm not from.
I've never even been.
But you can't explain yourself.
Yeah.
So I think if you're organizers of comedy shows, man, the earlier the better.
Yeah.
I think let's just get it done as soon as we can.
Yeah. So you see, Churchill was like maybe that show was the last really mainstream comedy scene. As you're still in the clubs, so you haven't completely transitioned as an English scene to like the mainstream, those big crowds. Because I've seen some of those photos you showed me. It seems like Uganda, you guys are there. You're doing like really big crowds of like
the big crowds. Like I've told you, Upcountry has really gained because the last show we did before we even traveled, it was a show in Gulu. Gulu is a city in northern Uganda. We had about 800 people. 800 people at the venue.
Yeah.
And these are people who bought tickets, came, sat down, and just listened to you. Bought a drink and just listened to you. No single drunkard in the audience.
Really?
You see what I mean? Like,
yes.
Nobody is so high that they're heckling you. They're just having fun. If there's anybody who heckles, it's a heckle of like, it's like he's so happy.
Joyous, like it's a joyous outburst.
He's not angry at you or trying to distract you. You know those kind of heckles. But it's someone who is like, you man, today you're killing us.
Me,
you know, something like that. And you're just having fun with the show.
What about, do you guys have run-ins with like government? Are they telling you, don't say this, don't do this?
I think it comes with it comes with the systems that are there and with the experiences you see. Because we've had a couple of comedians who have had issues with the government. But also, you as a comic, I think your performance on stage, how you bring out your material is very, very important. Because I also have political jokes. They're jokes that I write that are politically oriented. but you write them in such a way that they don't intend to anger anyone or to insult anyone. I think for me, the least form of comedy is to insult someone. You know,
I agree.
Besides, like roasting is like accepted insult. You're like, insult me.
Please tell me something.
Like the harder the better.
Yeah.
You know? But like the insult of like really like very very bad insults, like you're attacking someone's family or stuff like that. So people do things like that. I don't even appreciate them at all. But you can do jokes that are politically oriented, but not necessarily attacking anyone. You tell a joke about someone in government, and they also watch the video and enjoy the video. So that's the kind of political material that I like to do.
Yeah, it's maybe a bit of a delicate balance.
Yes.
Just make sure you're funny without having to
attack anyone
or
belittle anyone per se. So I've not had any issues on my side. A few people who have had issues with government and maybe security organs and stuff like that is because they went overboard. It's because they went way overboard, you know. So even as a comic, I would say, bro, you went too far. Yeah, like even when you meet them in prison, you're like, but you deserve to be here.
You see that suit you're wearing in prison, you deserve to wear this thing. Why are you saying the things you're saying? You know better and you know this. Yeah. So what do you think is the future of this thing we call comedy, you guys?
In Africa?
Yeah, in Africa, from your perspective.
I think in Africa, it's the progress is wild. I think the trajectory is exponential. Every day I see a new comedian. Every day I see a new face. A new face means the industry is stretching and growing. That's good.
Yeah.
The fact that we have comedy clubs now, I think comedy clubs are like the heart and soul of comedy. If you have comedy clubs in Nairobi, you have comedy clubs in Kampala, in Kigali, in Dar es Salaam, you know, then it means East Africa is getting there.
Yeah.
And it allows us now to tour, because now I'm doing here Stand-Up Collective. I'm going to Dar es Salaam. I'll be doing the Punchline in Dar es Salaam. I'll be doing Arusha as well. That is where we need to be. So I think where now we need to push ourselves, and I see it now happening a lot, is now people doing specials and putting them out on the internet. But the first special I did was called Laugh at My People. I did it at National Theatre. It was my first in UG. It was my first time doing a special, but for me, it was almost like everyone who does their first specials, like they're just getting their best jokes. Not even best jokes, like all their jokes.
All the jokes you've ever written since you started. That's my idea. That's it.
So everyone is like, everyone's first comedy special is like, let me just get all the jokes
all the funny
and put them together. So that special, to show you how, that special was 1 hour, 45 minutes. Because I was it was the first time I was recording my entire set, and I wanted to record everything. I don't even know how people sat in that show for 1 hour, 45 minutes.
You think it's too long?
I think it's way too long.
What's a good number now?
I think a good number is when you just touch 1 hour, bro.
Yeah,
like
I agree.
Even 55 minutes is good.
Yes.
Like I feel like beyond 1 hour, you're now...
And then you dumped all those jokes. You're not doing them anymore.
Bro, I dumped them. Okay, there are some that I feel could get better. So I redid them and touched them a bit, and then put them out again in another version, which is great. Because I feel like now you're wasting material if you just dump it, yet you can improve on it.
Especially if a few have potential.
If a few have potential. Like if there's a 2-minute joke, and I feel like if I push this to 5, it's a better joke, then you can re-release it in another show and just make it great. But these days it's just 1 hour. If I can get 1 hour, I'm good to go. You
were saying something about where the future is going. People performing in Arusha, in Tanzania. You were saying that before.
Like touring. I think it's good that we are able to move and tour. And I feel like the beauty about that is the ecosystem is now being developed. So financially, it will support comics a lot. You know, so you're not just limited to the audience in your home country. So you challenge yourself to go to Tanzania and do shows. You challenge yourself, go to Malawi, do shows, go to Zimbabwe, do shows. Even financially, you're making more money. You know, I think it's good to know as a comedian that right now I don't have money, but if I went to South Africa, I would make money. You see what I mean? Like to know that there's a pool of income.
There's a market.
There's a pool of income in a market that you know can guarantee you something if you went there. So all you need to do is challenge yourself to get there.
True.
You know,
True. Just get yourself there.
Get yourself there. So it's brilliant. Instead of just limiting yourself to, let's say, Nairobi, and let's say you did a show in Nairobi this month, and like, nah, I can't again announce another show. They already supported me.
Exactly.
You see what I mean? But you can do Nairobi and then go to Kampala and then go to Kigali. You see what? By the time you come back to Nairobi, they haven't. You have a new perspective. They haven't seen you for 4 months.
True.
You see? So that's incredible.
Who are some of the nice comics you know now? Who are some, like, as you travel, as you interact with comedians? Who are some of the few people you watch and you're like, "Hey, this guy is funny, man. I like
in Zimbabwe, 2 guys. There's a guy called King Kandoro. Fantastic comedian. Shout out to you, King Kandoro. Fantastic comedian. This dude, bro, I did his show last month. Last month not last month, rather. Last year in December. 4,000 people.
Where?
Bro.
Where?
In the capital city. This guy did a show. 4,000 people. We came for the show around 7 p.m. 6 p.m., 7 p.m. Came to the venue and it's just a swarm. I think there were like 8 lines outside. Access doors.
Who else was in the show?
No, it's his show. It's his special. We were opening for him. We were doing 15 minutes. Me and Vafa were opening for him, and then some home-based comics as well. I think it was like 4,000 people, bro. Yo, I was mind blown. But like, do you know lines that are now meandering? Like
going around the venue.
Yeah. And they said the show can't start because there are too many people outside. We need people to get in for the shows to start.
It was in like a theater or like...
Yeah, it was a theater. It's a theater, but built for a church. There's a church that owns the venue. So it has 2 tiers, the floor and then the upper floor. But I think down is like 3,000, then up is like 1,000. And every seat is taken. Like this, bro, I was amazed by that experience because it's one of those things that sets your mind to work hard, to like push yourself. You know? So wonderful comedian, King Kandoro, Nigel, the slick pastor. You should check him out as well.
King Kandoro is where is he? Where is he?
He's from Zim.
Zim.
Yeah, he's based in the UK, but he's from Zim.
Okay. So he's not primarily in Zim.
He's not primarily in Zim, but he comes over, does a couple of shows here, spends some time. Nigel, the slick pastor, is also from Zim. Very fantastic guy. I've been engaging him a bit because he's also a touring comedian. He has done Australia. He has done even Mauritius. I didn't even know that you can go and do stand-up in Mauritius. You see what I mean? But he's one of those challenging guys. He challenges himself to go somewhere and just figure that thing out. So he has done many places. He's done Europe. He's done a lot of African countries as well. So I feel like this guy should also come to Nairobi, so that they test out the space. Vafa from South Africa, fantastic, very funny. You go to Rwanda, there's some amazing guys there. Babu is amazing. Uganda, of course, I know the guys that are there. But now, like Kenya here, all the guys that step on stage here. Yesterday, you guys killed it on stage. Yourself with Ribia and Tai. Tai is fantastic. So I feel like we have a very good pool of comedians.
Yeah, for sure.
We just need to push ourselves.
That's very true. We just need to push ourselves.
We just need to push ourselves.
Interesting perspective. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling excited, much more calm. Because yesterday, when it's the first show, you're really trying to get your feet on the ground, testing the audience.
You do different from what you did last time. I remember we were with you for the festival.
Yeah. No, for the festival, that's a different material. So this is different material, but running for 3 nights. Yeah. So yesterday, what I did yesterday, I'll just find a ways to tweak it and do it again today, so that I hope in the 3 days the material gets better. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, my guy. I'm glad you made time for this, you guys.
No, we have 5 minutes. We need to make 1 hour. So
we need to.
Let's find what to talk about.
We need to make like a full hour.
What happened to your shirt? Where did this come from?
You mean what it says? Everyone asks me that, and I've yet to figure out.
Wait, I am the what? Isn't this thing that they put on the horses? The horses wear.
Yes.
The horseshoe.
Yeah.
Okay.
So my interpretation of it was like I am the hoe. Something of
even me, I thought hoe.
Yeah, but it doesn't compute.
It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense.
I am the E. I am the E in.
I don't get it. I just put.
Why do you buy shirts you don't understand?
I just liked how it fit me, and I was like, let me grab this one.
You've seen guys who they wear these donated shirts from Europe and America.
UN.
Yeah. But they don't understand what is written at the back.
With the full website right here.
Yeah, like IamAPimp.com. I see some old uncle moving around with that shirt. Like, bro, do you know what you're wearing?
You know, someone told me, Maina Munene told me, he was in Uganda actually.
Yeah.
He told me you guys have the most amazing food.
Maina, shout outs to you. Maina Munene, very wonderful comic. He came through for a couple of shows at the club as well.
Yeah.
And we can't wait to host you as well.
I'm coming actually.
Amazing. He had a good time. He did, I think, like 3 shows, 2 or 3 shows.
Yeah.
And he came home. He came to my place. Because most guys who come to UG, I invite you home and we have a meal.
Yeah.
So instead of taking you out to eat in expensive places, I'd rather take you home and we make homemade food.
Yeah.
And we have a good time.
Can you cook? Ama, who's cooking?
Yeah, I'm cooking or my wife is cooking. Anyone who is able to, who's available. But the last time they were there, I'm the one who cooked for them. So we had a very nice meal.
Yeah, he said the food in...
Bro, he didn't want to leave, man. Yo, these guys didn't
man wanted to be adapted.
I had to chase them away. I said, bro, you need to work on your career. Go back and work on your career.
Go back and write some jokes.
Maybe. You didn't come for food.
Yeah. No, but he loved his experience over
he
there.
He had a good time.
Yeah, all those guys over there. Odoki is usually... Yeah, he's usually like our neighbor.
Mina was there with, what's the other guy's name?
Hamis. And Marcus.
And Marcus Douglas.
Yes,
Marcus Douglas. Fantastic.
Yeah, man.
But they shout out Comedy Culture. You should check them out.
Yeah.
They have amazing merchandise for comedy. And also they'll tell you everything that's happening in comedy in Kenya.
They'll tell you all the good shows where everything is happening.
Where it should be.
I think that's a good place to wrap it.
We're on 50. All right. I think we have done our best.
We've done our best. We have pushed. You know, usually I had a comic last time who's a close friend of mine. His name is Jack Alita.
I know Jack,
Yeah. I think you'll see him. So Jack is one of those people, he's your close friend, but sometimes you don't realize. You don't know too much or enough about your own friend. Yes.
Until when you give them a microphone.
Yes. So I'm sitting with him and he's telling me stories about how he started doing comedy in Churchill. And I'm like, wait, you're
bro, I didn't see you.
Yeah. So it's like, hey, we were doing almost 1 hour and I'm like, hey, Jack, I don't know enough about you. Yeah. So I feel like this is one of those, maybe we've covered maybe everything I wanted to touch on.
Amazing. But next time again, we do it again.
For sure.
But don't forget to like, subscribe and comment. Comic Diaries,
yes.
Comic Diaries.
Yes,
and of course you can also check me out. For those of you who are just probably watching me for the first time, Dr. Hilary Okello, all over social media. Like and support comedy. And for those of you who come to shows, you're the VIPs. Support comedy in Kenya, in Africa, and in the world. For sure, Maze. Thank you so much. I used to think like when you put Dr. Hilary Okello, it was Dr. like Dr. Dre. But now you tell me like he studied medicine. It's not Dre. It's real, doctor. It's real. We're making this work. Thank you so much, man. Thank you, bro. All the best. Yes. See you around. See you in Kampala. Yes. Thank you to this gentleman who brought Mr. Fred over there. Thank you so much.